With the introduction of Ultron and new team-ups, Flyers are taking over Marvel Rivals Season 2.5 lobbies. In this video we are going to talk about how to counter them. Before going over every specific character, let's talk about some general strategies you can use. Number 1. Ban prevalent team-ups. If you are gold or above and your team agrees, or if it suits the team composition you have, you can use one or even two of your bans to disrupt the flying team-ups. For example, banning Iron Man will help you avoid him entirely, but also stop Ultron from gaining more damage and healing potential. Banning Storm will eliminate the worry of her ultimate and also stop its combination with Human Torch and Jeff. Number 2. Use an anti-flying playstyle. If you need your ban for other strong picks, or simply are in lower elo and don't have one, then adapting an anti-flying playstyle is the next best move. Using characters that are good with poke and aiming from afar, like Black Widow, characters that have anti-air capabilities, like Winter Soldier, characters that have high air mobility even though they can't fly, like Spider-Man for example, or even fighting fire with fire and picking Iron Man to counter the enemy flyers with his beam are all available options. Strategy number 3. Use off angles. If you don't know, off angles is essentially the technique of trying to use less common paths to surprise attack your enemies. For example, instead of following the cart route and attack by sitting next to the objective, go from a path to the right or use the higher ground by getting on a building. Can of course be riskier to do, especially if you get picked off, since your team will most likely not be able to support you, and if the enemies spot you early or if you miss and they all turn on you, you're done. Number 4. Make them panic. This might sound trivial and definitely won't work at higher levels of play, but a lot of flyer players panic when attacked and either make dumb attempts to escape or die because they don't know what to do, something you can take advantage of. If you can see them panicking after hitting a couple of shots, then you can focus more on doing that, maybe even more on doing that than actually killing them. If you do kill them that way though, they will start getting annoyed, maybe swap off the flyer or even start flaming their strategists. Let's talk about more specific counters though, going over the possible options out of its class. For duelists, it's primarily their job to deal with flyers and offer the most options by far. Hela, she can poke them down and force them to reposition, if not straight up kill them, and can also avoid attacks by using her Crow ability. With her ammo capacity getting buffed, you now also have more chances to actually hit the flying characters. Black Widow, being a hit scan hero, can also work like Hela, but with a worse ultimate ability, and she is objectively a much harder character to make work. Punisher is now better in Season 2.5, and it feels super satisfying bringing flyers down with his fast-paced shooting, either by the turret ability, ultimate, or even normal attack. And now you also have higher ammo capacity, which is great. This is an amazing opportunity for you to actually pick him up this season and improve your aim. Hawkeye will definitely be one of the best duelists in Season 2.5 and isn't just great at poking, but can even ground flying characters with one of his abilities. He can be a great example of a character to make flyers actually panic, like we discussed in the previous chapter. His ultimate is also very helpful to you with the shot speed he got in a past patch. Winter Soldier is another character that has a grounding but also pulling ability. It's not easy to hit his hook on flyers though, because they might use mobility or terrain as cover. If they see you charging it up, they simply can play out of your range, but he's an option. Spider-Man might be tougher to learn, but makes flyer heroes have nightmares. And don't forget this, especially in lower elo, it's not just your team ignoring the enemy flyers, their team might be doing the same. So if they don't get heals or other help, there is a good chance a Spider-Man targeting them over and over will annoy them and maybe even force them to swap to another hero. Iron Fist, even nerfed, is similar to Spider-Man, I guess, and another character that can deal with flyers with his multiple jumps. Not as easy as it seems, and Torch can still dive away, Iron Man can fly away, but you will rarely see that outside of higher level play. A lot of flyers panic when attacked, as we said, and even though Iron Fist is in a worse spot this season, he's still an option. Star-Lord can also be effective because of his blaster barrage auto-aim. If either you or your teammates can bring the flyers at lower health beforehand, he can fly up there and maybe execute them. His mobility and of course auto-aim ultimate ability are extremely impactful as well. Scarlet Witch, with her ability to fly higher up and auto-aim, can be a good option too, but her projectile attack is necessary for maximum damage, which might give the chance to flyers to dodge or run away from your primary attack, especially if they see you coming. Her ultimate also gives plenty of time to reposition away from the blast radius, but she is without a doubt a good option, especially if you can start attacking them before using your mythic projection charges to fly closer to them. Iron Man and Ultron, in my opinion, are the best flyers to deal with other flyers. Iron Man because of his beam and Ultron because of his long range auto attack and also having significantly lower damage fall off than other heroes. Other duelists, perhaps like Namor with his squids, Wolverine with his jump, can have anti-flying options, but I don't really think it is their main job to take out flyers, and the heroes listed so far can do way better against them. Moving on to strategists, it might not be their main focus to take care of flyers, but some can help with slight poking if the range allows it. Luna Snow is a great example. She has her snowball and good range but also damage for a strategist, so you might be able to lend your duelists a hand with more ways than healing, if possible. Ultron, as I mentioned in the previous category, since he is a hybrid character duelist / strategist and focuses on poking in general. Mantis is more like Ultron and doesn't just want to focus on healing. She can attack flyers but also buff her allies to deal with them faster. Adam Warlock is another similar option, especially if you're good with your aim because his hits can, and he can help with pokes as well, even actually take care of them. Jeff can actually also be annoying with his new primary attack because of the long range, but can't provide significant damage. And technically Loki can help you if they fly lower, or if he takes the form of one of the duelists mentioned previously, or the strategists we mentioned before him, but overall he's not really good against flyers. Overall, have in mind, these are not direct counters from this class, or even consistent ways to counter flyers. Just options that can help, especially if you main this role. They simply cannot deal with them alone. Simply enough, you cannot just have a Luna Snow, maybe even a Jeff in your team, and take care of the flyers because you have to focus on healing your teammates as well. So you need more options to be available in your comp, like a Hela, a Hawkeye, or other characters we discussed about before. Healing ultimates can also help to deal with flyer damage, but that isn't really flyer specific, it counts overall. For the final class, the Vanguards, I have to say, fellow Vanguard players, I feel your pain. Again, like the strategist, it's not the Vanguard's role to take care of the flyer, and there is essentially no consistent way to counter flyers or kill them. A hitscan Vanguard does not really exist either. But some things I can mention, I guess, are the following. Hulk might actually have the only real option if he jumps at them, but far easier said than done. Penny can shoot them if they stay in her range and maybe harass a bit, but can't really focus them a lot. Thor can perhaps do the same in his awakened state, but that could simply be a waste of damage while you are in the awakened state, and I don't even really know if you want to play changed Thor in general, to be fair. Emma, with her improved range, maybe can do something, but I think she went from just being super horrible at dealing with flyers to just being horrible. Even if the flyer is in your range, focusing on attacking other enemies to keep your passive up, diving squeezes, or playing anti-dive is more important for the character. Doctor Strange can fly up to attack them, but also block their attacks, which you might find useful now with his damage buffed, but that might also leave your team more vulnerable, so have it in mind if you decide to do so. Magneto can counter some of their ultimates with his shield or bubble, just like Strange, but that's pretty much it. You just help with survivability, not really taking care of the flyers by poking them or attacking them. Now have in mind, having slightly better options than the thing does to deal with stuff doesn't really make you a counter. And I am really sorry for the stray to Ben Mains, my condolences for this season. But now let's go over all of the flyers available and their current place in the meta, in my opinion at least for now, since we are just entering the second overall week of the season. Human Torch saw significant nerfs and will definitely see a big drop in his play rate as well. He will be easier to punish now and also will cause less of a headache. He is still 100% viable in my opinion and still has tools to help him avoid counters like his dive to deal with pokers or run away and go into a healer ult or behind cover. Can still hover around your games, but in my opinion definitely won't be in a permaban situation anymore. Iron Man in my opinion is the strongest flyer for low elo and maybe even overall this season. His jet ability helps him reposition easy and even play around health packs. His AoE attacks can easily poke down the unsuspecting opposition and his ultimate is also pretty good. But characters have the ability to stop its damage, that is one of the biggest downsides. The ultimate gauge is not hard to acquire because of his beam and AoE though. He is the easiest flyer to aim with and as an anchor now, the damage boost is helpful. He might have lost his Hulk team up, but even with the new Ultron one, he will appear in a lot of lobbies. Storm saw some new team ups and slight buff recently, but to be honest I think overall she is in a fine spot. It's a toss up between her and Iron Man, I guess it also depends how good the player is using them, but one of these two characters is the best flyer in the game now after the torch nerfs. Keep in mind though, she has the slowest burst of speed while flying between all of the flyers, alongside Johnny probably, and her ultimate is still very strong, like it always used to be. The fact that she can assist teammates also makes her pretty unique. And finally, we have the newest addition to the roster, Ultron, that so many people were crying about because he sucks and he will be horrible on lands, etc. And is he broken? Absolutely not. But he is not horrible or unplayable by any stretch of the imagination. I know he is a hybrid character, but for now, to me he also feels more like a duelist strategist instead of a strategist duelist because you focus more on poking and doing damage than actually healing, if that makes any sense. Or maybe that's mainly because people play him that way for now, just using his ultimate for damage, for example. People are still figuring him out. At the end of the day, he's out for approximately a week, a bit longer than that. But something I'm not a fan of in general, not just with him, are team-ups between flyers. I get that it makes sense for him to have a team-up with Iron Man, but that also promotes the multiple flyer composition in the first place. I now also understand the dev decision to buff Hela and Hawkeye. They did buff his damage a bit on Lance, but I'm happy they didn't just listen to the overreaction to buff him further. I'm sure no one would like a Johnny repeat from Season 2. I find him to be in a middle spot as far as meta viability goes right now, but it's too early to tell as well, because people at the start were playing him in anything, then we started to see the 3 strategist comp more and more. Now he has faded a bit, so we need to wait more to actually see if he's just the new shiny thing that everyone wants to play, or he can actually be viable in compositions, which in my opinion can be in specific ones, and he shouldn't really be directly buffed or nerfed at this point until the meta settles more. But that is the conclusion of my full guide about the flyers and how to counter them as of now in Season 2.5. Hopefully you did enjoy the video or found it helpful. Leave a like if you did, I would really appreciate it, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Rivals content. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see ya!